The chairman of, executive chairman of AFL, the directors, Dr. William Katune, Mr. Jeffrey Shaw, ladies and gentlemen, it's always very good to get money from government's perspective from its state-owned enterprises. And I have to say that the $45 million payout by AFL is the largest ever that government has received from any state-owned enterprise. I had heard rumors that you were originally going to pay us $40 million, but I think when Vodafone declared a $42 million dividend payout to ATH, which is the parent company, which you own actually, because ATH, as you know, is majority owned by FNPF. I think when they paid out $42 million, your board decided they wanted to outdo them, that's why we declared $45 million. So I hope that competition continues. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to, of course, acknowledge a few people for this payout. Firstly, like your executive chairman said, that all of you have contributed towards the operations of AFL to ensure that you're able to reach such a financial position. I'd like to also thank Faiz Khan for the energy, the conviction that is brought to, in particular, the project itself, which is the modernization of this airport. You'd be surprised how much of a indelible mark an airport leaves on everybody's mind or in the psyche. The moment you travel to any country, the first thing you see is the airport. That actually creates an impression of that country for you. The moment you leave a country is you leave through airport, unless of course you're traveling by ship. But nearly 90% of all travelers to Fiji come by aircraft. So you can imagine the impact it leaves on them. Those in particular who have been traveling to Fiji over the past 20, 30 years, when they walk out and see this, it completely changes their perspective of Fiji. I've had so many Fijians say to me at this airport, they grabbed my arm and said, "Hey, you fellas want to make Fiji like overseas." It just completely sets a new standard altogether. So it is very, very important to understand a very pivotal role that the airport plays. And Faiz actually has been quite instrumental in the vision that we had and the practical implementation. Governments, of course, can have visions. Governments can, of course, have policies. Governments can, of course, give money. But we need people to implement that. In the same way, for example, as you know, we've been going around talking about civil service reforms. We, of course, are carrying out a lot of reforms. Some civil servants have received pay rises up to 70 to 80%. But at the same time, we also hear about how some people aren't able to actually implement the policies that we have because of lack of training, because of lack of conviction, because of the inability to move with the times, inability to adopt technology in numerous factors. So the reality is that today what we have over here is because of the dedication all of you have shown and also driven by your executive chairman. I also like to thank the board members who've been also supporting him, who've been providing their valuable insights at the financial level, of course with the overall perspective that they bring from their different experiences. So I think we should put our hands together for your board and your executive chair. I want to, highlight a few things to you. I think it would be amiss of me not to mention a few things. If you look at your new the annual report, and I want to draw your attention to some of these types of things. If you look at your revenue, if you see in the revenue over here, it says landing and parking fees 21.6 million, air navigation charges 21.9 million. Concessions, $30.1 million. A few years ago, before we put in place the Nadi Airport modernization, it was called a decree then, it's an act now, that enabled us to be able to remove what we call price controls that were actually placed in tenancy or concessions at this airport. A lot of people don't understand that. To rent space at a shop at Nadi Airport, which airport is always prime real estate, was a lot cheaper to have a shop here than to have a shop downtown Namaka, which is completely problematic. If you go anywhere in the world, the airport rental is a premium rental because they have a captive audience. When people go through immigration, when they go through upstairs, those shops are the only shops people can shop from. So obviously the value of that concession must be a lot higher. So your revenue source has come about also because of the fact that we put in place this new law at that point in time. I know a lot of people are critical of it, but we had the vision. And the vision was that AFL should be able to stand on its own 2 feet. With the ability to have that level of revenue coming from concessions, today you have built an airport that's costing about $130 million without borrowing a cent from government, without even getting government guarantee. Today we have state-owned enterprises. Previously we state-owned enterprises, even if they wanted to get a $10 million loan, they go running off to government to get a government guarantee. And that's the position that we should be in. And that's what these laws that we put in place about 5 or 6 years ago, and people who did not have the vision were critical of it, has enabled you to be able to do. This is why you have this structure here today, precisely for that reason. This is why you're able to give us $45 million in dividends. And that, of course, is a very good position to be in. I would like to also highlight, and again, because of the flavor of the civil service reforms, all of you over the past number of years have been getting pay rises. You've now moved on to PMS, Performance Management System. It is very critical, ladies and gentlemen. In Fiji, we need to develop a culture of ensuring we appoint the right people for the right job. And if people in those positions perform well, they need to be rewarded. As I've been saying in the civil service consultations we've been having, if these 5 people here sitting in the front are actually going to be assessed, and I said if this person here comes to work at 10 o'clock in the morning and leaves at 4:30, starts combing her hair at 4 o'clock to leave at 4:30, the person next to him spends half his time in the grog bowl, but the third person there next to both of them actually works hard, adopts new technology, does the right thing. Why should these two get the same pay rise as the third person? You shouldn't. Your bases are all fixed up. You've got the right base salary. But in terms of your assessments going forward, you need to be assessed on the individual performance. Because if you are not, then these 2 people who aren't performing well will continue to not perform well because they'll get the pay rise in any case. The third person who is actually going the extra mile will say, I might as well not do it because what's the point? These 2 jokers aren't doing their job, they're getting a pay rise, so might as well not work too. So overall, the entire productive capacity, the output of the organization just completely wilts away. So we have to be very, very mindful of how we need to continuously push each other. As I say to my staff also, if you are, for example, working in security, you should have the passion to be able to read articles, what's happening overseas. Go on the internet, all of you have access to internet nowadays. See what other airports are doing. Learn about it, even though it may not be necessarily part of your day-to-day job. But if you have that interest in your area, you'll be able to improve yourself. And of course you have an organization, you have a board that will actually give you the necessary training. We want to be employers of choice. We want people to come and work in the organization. We want people to be able to specialize in those areas. And so that's the environment we are creating. Now a lot of people also think that just because, as I find quite funny when I hear some people in Parliament talk about this. Recently when Fiji Airways made a profit of about, I think about $70 million or so, they said, oh, why are you giving them a marketing grant? We have a marketing grant for them to fly to Singapore. But they don't understand that the business of the airline business is very much subject to fluctuations in pricing that is completely out of their control. If the price of fuel goes up tomorrow, it's at the moment at $49 a barrel. A few years ago, it was $149 a barrel. So you can obviously have the cost of operations will go up significantly. Similarly, you have various costs. So we need to be able to understand, as the Executive Chair was saying, your balance sheet needs to be strong. So people need to understand that just because one year you made a large amount of profit it does not mean that therefore you are automatically very rich. We still have a lot of infrastructure works to be done. Rotuma is being upgraded at the cost of $13 million. We need to extend the runway in Tavuni. We've got some land acquisition issues there. If we're able to have a longer runway at Tavuni, we can get the ATR 42s and 72s flying to Tavuni. What does that mean to the economy of Tavuni? It'll become a lot more robust, a lot more sources of revenue for the people in Tavuni. We're putting now night lights in Lambasa, which means that more people from Lambasa can travel. The airlines won't have actually any restrictions in terms of when they can fly. It means greater flexibility. It also means reduction in prices. We also are looking at the extension of Missouri Airport. All of these things also cost money. So you need to be able to be strong, not just for that 1 year, but for the longevity. I have one passion which I have to address, and that is, you have been given this wonderful asset. Please, I've said this to Joe, and I take this matter very, very seriously. In Fiji, traditionally, we have been very good at building things. We may build things, but we're not very good at looking after it. We always like to have nice ceremonies, big ceremony, everybody comes along, everybody gets garlanded, big fanfare, and then we don't look after the asset. We have to look after the asset. We've got a 4-lane road out there. We need to ensure that large trucks carrying overburden trucks with weights don't rip up the road. They'll rip up the road. That's why we need to be very strict about overladen trucks. In the same way, we've got a beautiful airport, you've got a lot of white. If I wear a white shirt, you see a small stain on it, the entire shirt looks very dirty. You have to ensure that your airport is clean. I just asked your executive chairman yesterday, I said, how many people do you have in your cleaning fleet? How many people are in the cleaning team? I've walked past here so many times, and I've seen some of the staff walk past, rubbish, plastic, they don't pick it up, but I pick it up. Because you need to take pride in your asset. This structure, ladies and gentlemen, gives you that profitability. This structure, ladies and gentlemen, gives you and helps you to improve your PMS. It's not just individually, but as an organization you need to perform too. Please make sure that the place is clean. It is very, very important, very basic things. People need to stick to the rules. You've got a no smoking sign there. If you see anybody smoking there, you tell them, please move to the smoking zone. We have to do this. Otherwise, if we let the standards drop, people will just fall back into the old way of doing things. So if we want to move ahead as a country, we want to be modern, we want to attract more people to this airport, we need to ensure that everybody follows the rules. A lot of people in the tourism industry think, or some people who have a naive view, Jeff will tell you, that Aussies and Kiwis are lining up to come to Fiji. Not necessarily. They have Phuket, they have Bali, they have other destinations to go to. Some of them much better pricing than us. So how do we differentiate ourselves? You need to have a very good airport, an environment when they land in, when they catch our plane, when they catch the national carrier, they feel good about it. Friendly staff, they land here, seamless operations. I've spoken to, for example, Fiji Revenue Customs Services CEO saying, put more people at peak hour period. We don't want people to be slowed down in the lines. They're able to catch a 6:30 flight from Sydney, come through a seamless process at the airport, get their bags, the gentlemen who play a very pivotal role in picking up the bags, putting the x-ray machines, everybody's smiling, they come out, they catch the 4-lane road, they're drinking their beer or their pina colada by midday at Sheraton, they'll say Fiji is a good destination. That's what we're competing with, you have to understand that. So these are some of the things that overall we need to be able to understand, we need to be able to focus ourselves on. I'd like to thank everybody for this wonderful effort. We look forward, of course, to the grand and official opening of this airport. There's obviously a lot of final touches to be done, and I'm sure they'll be done. We always, I have sort of wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and have ideas, and I control myself from sending it to your executive chairman at 3 a.m. and so ring him up at 6 a.m. But I think it's a team effort, and we have a wonderful opportunity. There are a lot of obviously overseas investors, when they come and see this airport, they enjoy it. They like it. It creates a very good impression of the country. This is the only airport in your entire network that makes profit. All the other airports in Fiji, Nassori, Lambasa, Kandavu, Tavuni, everywhere else, in all the outer islands, they all make a loss. This is your cash cow. But of course, we'd like Nassori to also start making money too. 300,000 Fijians live between Nasori and Lamy. A lot of them travel. It'd be nice to have some direct flights from overseas into Nasori and into Nasori. So there's a lot of opportunities there that we can work through. I'd like to once again thank the Executive Chairman and the Board for this wonderful effort. I'd like to also thank all of you. You have the responsibility of a wonderful company. You can make it work. We need to be able to get the best people from whether within Fiji or outside Fiji to ensure that we continue to develop capacity. We believe there are a lot more exciting times ahead. So thank you once again, and of course we look forward to receiving the actual check itself. Thank you very much. Thank you.